When it comes to one of their songs, I consider John Lennon and Paul McCartney to be a pair of unwitting Baroque period composers. I say unwitting because both songwriters freely admit to not having been formally educated in traditional music theory. Thus, although they may have heard or sensed a particular relationship within their music, they would not have known what to call it or how to explain it to other musicians. But I also believe that both Lennon and McCartney were instinctively very musically observant. Both of them have described how their proximity to the ships that constantly delivered the latest music from the U.S. influenced their approach to writing. They listened to a wide variety of genres, including rock and roll, jazz, show tunes, standards, country and western, and more. Being observant, I believe that they were able to hear and correctly use some of those musical relationships that they might not have known what to call. The song I am thinking of is Yesterday, one of the most re-recorded songs in history. Let's listen to the first verse. The piece is written in the key of F major, according to the key signature, and for the most part, the notes within the melody and the harmonic support are appropriate to that key. Even the applied dominant, A major triad, preceding the sixth chord, D minor triad, in measures 2 and 3, makes harmonic sense in the key of F major. What is out of place, however, is the B natural occurring within the melody just prior to the C sharp. The B natural is also out of place within the E minor seventh chord in the second measure and the G major triad second inversion in measure 6. We might wonder if these two chords could be part of a modal interchange, but that would have to involve borrowed chords between the keys of F major and F minor, wherein both keys contain a consistent B flat. The only scale beginning on F natural, which contains a B natural rather than a B flat, is the scale for the F Lydian mode. But why are we seeing a mixture of B natural and B flat within the same Lydian mode? The answer lies within the voice-leading practices of many mid-16th century composers. During this period, composers were very aware of the tension set up by the sound of the half-step and its resolution both on the way up the scale and down the scale. This period in history also marked the beginning of the transition from individual modes to what we now call major and minor keys. As evidence of this, in 1547, Heinrich Glarean pointed out in his published works that the various church modes could be divided into what we now call major-like and minor-like. Of course, he did not use this terminology, but rather used the terms authentic modes and plagal modes. In addition, he pointed out that the Ionian mode, our major scale, was one of the most often used modes, and that in the Lydian mode, the B naturals were very often flatted in order to make it sound like the Ionian mode. In 1571, Josefo Zarlino, in his publication, went so far as to rearrange the modes, placing the C Ionian mode first. As we see in the lower staff of the illustration, this Lydian scale, the way it was used in the mid-16th century, creates a merged scale containing both a raised and lowered version of scale degree 4 in much the same way as our current melodic minor scale presents itself as a merged scale containing both raised and lowered versions of scale degrees 6 and 7. This illustration shows the variety of chord qualities we can get from the merged F Lydian mode when we form triads using both the raised and lowered versions of scale degree 4. Lennon and McCartney did intuitively, by ear, what mid-16th century composers did by study and design. From all of the music that they had listened to and observed up to this point, they heard what was rational, coherent, and acceptable to the ear. In measure 2, for example, we see and hear the use of an E minor 7th chord rather than F major's E diminished 7th chord to support the B natural to C sharp movement in the melody, while in measure 6 we see a G major triad rather than F major's G minor triad to support the G natural in the melody. Thus, we can say that yesterday was written in the F Lydian mode, just as the F Lydian mode was used during the mid-16th century. By their correct, intuitive usage of medieval transitional modes, then, Lennon and McCartney become unwitting mid-16th century composers.